What is up, my friends? And welcome into Studio Day Heffrey. We'll find out if this is an episode of Trust the Tape in a minute. I know it's a really late night, and Brian Broaddus and I do Trust the Tape on Tuesdays and Fridays, but after a Monday game, we might do it on Wednesdays. And in standard Jeff PhD kid fashion, I didn't even reach out to see if it would be different. Hold on now. Brian Broaddus. What's happening, brother? How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I was just explaining to the audience that I didn't even ask you if we were going to change it based on what day the Cowboys played.
No,
So I didn't know if this would be Trust the Tape or if I was just going to wing it for a few minutes and see him tomorrow, but it's good to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been watching tape since about 5:30 this morning. So got done with a post-game show at about 1, went to bed about 1:40. So
yeah,
good, man. This is what we do. This is what we do, bro.
I knew you would be sleep deprived because I heard you on my way home, and I was like, it don't sound like he's anywhere near done, and I'm going to bed.
No, man. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and actually start on college players tonight. So that's a lot going on, lot things happening in the world. So all good. All good. Hope everybody's okay out there.
There's Bri.
Hey, Bri.
And this is me.
My name is Jeff.
You can, of course, find Brian Broaddus on 1053thefancowboys.com and at Crown Global Media on YouTube. Look up Crown Global Media, hit that follow button. I'm on the DLS Cowboys podcast. It's the DLS Sports YouTube page and right here. So the Cowboys have made a trade this morning. We talked about it yesterday. Jerry hinted towards a trade, and now we've got it. The Cowboys are trading for Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson, and they are giving up a 7th-round pick. And you've been watching tape since 5:30. I've been watching tape since 6:50 because we have different work ethics. Brian's is a 10.5. Mine's about an 8.25. But I put eyes on Logan Wilson this morning. I know you're familiar with Logan Wilson. So what do you think of the Cowboys trade today? It's a 7th-round pick for Logan Wilson.
What do you got? Go ahead, man. I'm interested to hear.
I think here's what I think. I double dipped it, Brian, because again, my work ethic might be an 8.75 because I also DM'd Ben Baby, ESPN reporter for the Cincinnati Bengals, who I knew when he lived in Dallas, and I said, Ben Baby, hit me with what you got. And he just said, this is one of those things where the Bengals had some younger linebackers. He doesn't think Logan Wilson has been the same player since he hurt his knee last year towards the end of the year, and that they were just playing younger players and that he actually thought they'd be better if they were still playing Logan Wilson.
Yeah.
I watched him, and I know we live in a world where we're mad at the Cowboys, and this trade, if you were looking for something that was going to make a big difference for the Cowboys, I don't think this is going to make a big difference for the Cowboys at all.
Sure.
But I think if Logan Wilson is playing your snaps at middle linebacker, you will get better middle linebacker play than what you're getting right now.
Oh yeah, it's pretty clear that the linebackers are some of the issues here, a little bit because of ability and some because of lack of experience. I think are a couple of things there. When you look at overall, I've kind of felt like watching Logan Wilson when I watched him earlier. I thought he was somewhat similar to what you had with the abilities the way he can. I think he covers ground well enough. I think he plays in coverage well enough, which will be a big improvement for what you currently have. Me personally, I liked Quincy Williams from the Jets a little bit better, but they didn't make I know that there was probably a little bit of a steeper price for Quincy Williams, but with Wilson, yeah, there's going to be he's around the ball. He's a square player. He tackles well. You don't see him make huge mistakes when it comes to the coverage. He's in position. They started playing some younger guys, and that's really he plays on all the special teams. If you break down his plays and you say, okay, give me Logan Wilson's all his plays.
He's run down on kickoff.
He's running on kickoffs. He's on punt team. He's on punt return, and then you get the defensive plays, and it was kind of becoming less and less for him. But like I say, kind of very similar to what you have, but with just a little bit better skill at the coverage aspect of things. And, maybe a lot like what you have with Shamar James, that kind of guy, better than what you have. Like I said, I think Quincy Williams was more of a will linebacker than he was a Mike. This guy probably more fits in that inside role of the Mike linebacker.
Well, and let me knock through some super chats here. Formula, who I hadn't seen you in a bit, bud. I hope you were well. Worst defense we've ever seen. Agree? This team is so cooked. We are sad today. And I think that will influence a lot of people's thoughts on something that is a trade today that's really just it's not a big thing. But I'll give you a list of reasons that I am a supporter of the trade. But I appreciate you being in the super chat formula. Now, so I like it for a couple of reasons. One, I can appreciate that you had a trade target out there, that you liked the player better and would have liked to have seen something. I think if you look at it from Dallas's perspective, they view it as their will linebacker, their weak side linebacker is going to be here in a week or two, right? Like DeMarvion Overshown will be flying around.
Yeah.
And they believe in that. And so in theory, in a couple of weeks, you can go from Kenneth Murray and Shamar James to Logan Wilson and DeMarvion Overshown, and you can upgrade that linebacker core. And I'm with you on, I think Logan Wilson is a slight upgrade at middle linebacker. And I'm glad you mentioned the coverage, because there's a couple of things that jumped out to me. So I started off watching the Lions game, which is the last game that Logan Wilson played as the starter, week 5. And then they started giving his snaps to Barrett Carter, a younger player. And there were a couple of plays. Now, I will tell you this. It's not fun when you go to watch a player and in the first 4 plays, play number 3, Sam Laporta runs an out route and is open by 5 yards, 10 yards against man coverage. When he tried to jam him, didn't work out for him. And the very next play, Jamar Gibbs makes him whiff in the hole in a one-on-one situation. But Jamar Gibbs did that to a lot of people. But I saw a couple of plays as that game went on where I went, that's way better than you would see from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And it was zone coverage plays where you watch him take away, let me see. The first one was definitely cover 3. The second one was probably cover 3 also. But where he knows where he's supposed to be. He's dropping to where there's a threat in that zone. And as soon as that zone is towards the end of where he's supposed to be, that dude's wheeling out of there and taking away the next thing in that area. And I just think he showed a level of awareness and ran well to cover some ground, to take away some things where Jared Goff wanted to go. And like, I'm not going to build him up to be somebody who's going to change your defense. But I think you'll upgrade, I don't know, you want to put a percent on it, 20% at the middle linebacker spot. And the goal is to get better. He is on a multi-year deal where if you want to keep him around for 2 more years after this, it's reasonably affordable. If you can find somebody better than him this offseason or next, he does not stop you from doing that. He's cuttable. And so I just think it's one of those things where there's going to be a lot of people that are just frustrated to the point where it's like, I want Max Crosby. I want somebody to change things. Logan Wilson will not change your defense. Logan Wilson will give you better play at middle linebacker. I believe that.
True.
And for a 7th round pick and the option to keep him around for multiple years, getting further away from a knee injury, I view it as a why the hell not? Unless your goal is to lose all the games and you're like, I don't want to be better at linebacker. Then I think
just keep playing. Just keep playing.
I think this trade fits with where the Cowboys are and what you would want them to do. I'm trying to improve a position, give myself the chance to keep him around if I want to, but I don't have to. And add another guy to a room that is probably the worst room on the team right now. So I don't have a negative about the Logan Wilson trade. I don't have one.
Yeah. I think everything that you walked us through is absolutely right. And I think the hope is Logan Wilson steps in for the Raiders game. And then maybe you also have a situation too, where you get Overshown back. And now it's a different looking group. Defensive, they've got to do some things, of course, that like they said, there was several guys that need to come off the field. I don't think we need to see, I think the corner situation, I would go ahead and keep playing Carson out there. If I'm the Cowboys, I wanted to sit down. I just got done looking at all the sacks that they gave up. So I wanted to go back and watch Carson, but what I saw in the 3rd down defense, I went back and watched all of the all the Arizona third down attempts because I was like, okay, what's the common thread here? And they were really close on some pressures. I mean, they were really close to getting home, but then you had Brissett was able to make some throws. Harrison was a real problem, especially at the top of the route. He was a real problem for Bland. That if you look at how they attacked you, Bland, Bell, those were the guys that they kind of went after. Bell, you get off the field, but Bell's got a holding call, on McBride. We knew going into the game that covering McBride was going to be a problem. So yeah, there needs to be, and they can't do it by practice because of the way the CBA is. So it's going to be they're just going to have to throw guys in. Really, I mean, if it's Overshown getting thrown in, if it's your new linebacker getting thrown in, if it's Carson getting thrown in, I mean, they've got to kind of look at some things now at a lot different in a lot different scope than what they've had before.
So you mentioned one of the things that I think bothered me the most about this game was they viewed Deron Bland as a target.
They did.
And
they absolutely
Deron
did.
Bland on a defense that your corners on the field are Triquez Bridges, Kaiir Elam, and Deron Bland. They were like, okay. And like, you're our target. You're the guy who's covering the guy I want to throw to. No problem. I think that is a little bit disheartening that one of the guys that you just paid that's supposed to be the best corner out there is
to you one of the best corners, maybe not to the league, but to you one of the best corners.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my Cowboy frustrations is it's 100% what they do. I'm trying to remember the scenario when a few years back, when they were mad at Zeke and he was holding out. And so they just start giving contracts to mid-level players with good player money.
Yeah.
They know they'll accept those contracts. And it's here you go, fan base. Look, we really want to sign guys. So while they play the penny pinching game with the guys who no doubt need to be here, and Micah Parsons ends up gone, they give money to Jake Ferguson and Deron Bland and Oso Digizua because those are decent to good NFL players making quite good NFL player money now because they know they can get them to sign those. And I hate the way they do it. And we did an emergency podcast as soon as they signed Deron Bland. And a lot of people, I think, were getting mad at me because I wasn't like, hell yeah, this guy's amazing. Like, I know he had an all-pro season. I know he had a Pro Bowl season. I know he had a bunch of pick sixes in a year, but I think play for play, down for down, Deron Bland's not a great NFL corner. Deron Bland is a capable NFL starter. And when those are the guys that you're like, look at us, boy, we sure are investing in this
team. It seems like when they try and get ahead of some of these signings, it's kind of worked out poorly for them. And I think you could throw Steele in there too.
For sure.
The Bland, the Steele, the Oso Digizua,
But their reaction to that, Brian, is to then say that's why we're waiting on our best players. Yeah. Like people last night talking about Dak's money. Dak makes the most, and why does Dak make the most money? And the answer is because of how your front office handled his contract. They get gun shy, but they get gun shy with their best players. They're not gun shy with the middle of the roster players. They're gun shy with the best guys because of the middle of the roster guys that they've given contracts to. And that is wild to me.
Yeah.
That's where we are. Ike said in the super chat, force the ball to GP like they did 88 and see what happens in that game. Trade CD for Max straight up, sign GP long-term, draft wide receiver 2 with the 14th pick. There is a lot of momentum of people who are wanting to keep George Pickens and trade CD Lamb, that's a bad plan. I just want you guys to know. I also want to keep.
Did we have a show? Did we do a show about that like 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, you probably. You know what? You probably started this.
I did not start this, man. I
did
not start. I'll say this. I'll say this though. If you honestly don't think your team is going anywhere, you need to try and get something for George Pickens today. If you don't feel like you're going to re-sign him or tag him. I've said that. I've been really consistent about that. If his value right now to you could be a 1 or a 2. And if your intent, and I say this again, if your intent is not to do something with him after the season, and Jerry's talked about, we've had a lot of discussions about George Pickens.
Well, they haven't
And
had those discussions with the people who they need to have them with.
well, no, but
Right.
internally is what they. So yeah, internally they've had these discussions, and it's probably Adam Pacifica, the cap guy, saying something. It's probably the head coach saying something. It's probably Will McClay saying something. Everybody has to kind of get lined up on this one. I'd love to have George Pickens back. I love the way he competes. I think the trade has worked out great for the Cowboys. So it's a shame it hasn't worked out to more wins you
Yeah.
know, but your offense is starting to look somewhat bad, and it's because your offensive line's starting to look a little bad, and
Yep.
that's becoming an issue right now. Is that your teams are finding ways now to get pressure on your quarterback, and usually the quarterback plays really well, and usually the quarterback has a way to escape and step up and throw. But when a guy gets beat and then another guy gets beat, then now there's no place for the quarterback to step up and throw. I'm not saying, I mean, there was times where on that 4th and 4, the first drive of the game, if Dak does have a little time, I mean, I think he's wanting to throw the ball to Pickens in the corner. He's got Ferguson on the other side. I mean, he's got it, but he never could get back over there because of how quickly the pocket disintegrated on him there. So it's been an issue here the last couple of weeks that if your offense doesn't score 30, 35 points, you're probably going to lose the football game, because and they can't afford to have punts, and they really can't afford to have 4th down situations where they don't convert.
No, I think that was you lost that game, and it's like you can phrase it however you want. Like I don't expect the defense to play well, and I do expect the offense to play well.
That's
So
that's
if
yeah, that's
if
that's the reason why. Yeah,
so when you
we
put the
know what
ball
we know what the defense is. Now,
right,
you got some guys on defense that when you go back and watch, the 3rd down stuff, and like they were really close on some pressures. They
Clowney
were
baby,
Clowney was really, I mean, Clowney did some good things.
as a rock was
Donovan,
I.
I quite don't understand on some of the 3rd down calls that Houston and Ezraku are not rushing. They're dropping. I don't I don't quite get that one. I really, really don't.
Well, that's Jerry
Yeah,
Stratton calling it defense.
that's yeah,
Jerry
that's the old fire zone stuff, where you bring pressure and then but you have your best pass rushers dropping into like the abyss, And I mean, hey, it is what it is right now. I mean, give Jacoby Brissett and those guys a lot of credit. Marvin Harrison looked like the player that we kind of all saw at Ohio State.
Yeah,
Like
right
kind of that.
after I said that he's disappointing, and I think he lacks suddenness and a bunch of
Yeah.
different things. All of a sudden, he's a all pro
Well,
for the
that's
Cowboys.
yeah. I mean, Arizona had a really good plan and they executed it very well. That you still had opportunities with the right side of their offensive line, and you were a couple of times just a step slow. If you were a step quicker, there would have been more issues. There would have been more getting off the field on 3rd down. But there was a couple of times where Ezraku was laid off the ball, and he was just a step. I mean, just a step away from getting there. So
I have a question about that
sure,
because I'd have to go back and see those plays you're talking about. But
yeah.
on
Go watch the
Ezraku's
3rd down.
sack,
Go watch the 3rd down plays. Yeah,
he was laid off the ball,
yeah,
and I think it was intentional. Like it was part of his setup to the rush.
sure.
And I don't know, and I'd have to see the other plays, and I don't know. Do you think that was like part of his plan? Do you
No,
think
I
he just
think
laid
I
off the
think
ball?
there was there were a couple of times where he's usually pretty good off the count, and he was just a tick late. You could tell as they were rushing. So, yeah.
Dro knows is in the super chat. Wilson Phillips couldn't save this defense, and I'll have you know that Wilson Phillips is an American pop vocal group formed in Los Angeles in 1989. I don't know if you're familiar, Brian, with
Yeah.
that with the with the fine work of that group.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rock down here and see. Here's CC Black in the super chat. Sorry, guys. Viewership for channels might see a dip. I think fans will start to tune out the Cowboys. I see it with a lot of fans now. Apathy is here.
Yeah, well, draft coverage, man. If you're tuning out now, and like I said, we'll have to talk about the team. Apathy, great, fine. But if you really, if you really want to learn more about what's going on or how to fix things, I think the one thing all our shows, all our platforms have been doing is trying to point out things, you know, I really, really do. And so, but I know one thing. I know myself, Oj Lombardi, yourself, others around are going to start to dip into this draft coverage stuff. And I think to
Sure.
me, if you're tuning out because of the team, fine. But don't tune out because of draft coverage. Don't. I mean, you should dig in even more, and you should find ways to maybe study yourself. If you want to really hone in. I mean, this thing is fixable. It absolutely is fixable. But you're going to have to figure out ways to, you're going to have to figure out ways, and they're going to have to maybe change some of their ways in order to make it happen. But if you're dipping because of the team, I get it. But if you're dipping because you should not dip because of the draft coverage. I think is in this town, draft coverage is by far the best of any other place that covers it. I know.
And I do think that there is a point there, and nobody likes it when your team is not bad. But I will tell you a secret, at least in my experience with viewership, you, the listeners, you want to be behind the curtain. I can see as we are talking right this second how many people are watching right this second. I can see
Yeah.
that number. And that number on an average Tuesday as we go throughout the show will end up probably around 600, creep up towards 600 by the end of the show. It's at 893 right now because the
Sure.
Cowboys traded a 7th round pick for a linebacker. Like, yeah, I agree that apathy's at an all-time high, but
Sure.
there is still just so much interest in anything that moves the needle.
Yeah.
This
I
is
know. I
this
agree.
is a this
They're
is
going to
a
trade. I get you. I bet you they trade for. I bet you they trade for a defensive end here, and I don't. And I thought it was going to be Chubb, but I think it's going to be Wilson from the Raiders. I think our guy from Texas Tech. I think that might be
Oh, yeah, he never really popped. I hadn't thought about him in a long time. I thought
Yeah. Tyree Wilson.
I
Yeah.
thought he was a really good college player. Now, if you
Okay, now
pass
this
rush
is why
again,
this is why because Dallas does these things. They'll
former
go
first
out-
round pick, baby.
they'll go after former first round pick and a guy they had high on their draft board. I really thought yesterday that when I was doing my show out at the stadium, I was thinking it was Nick Chubb, and I was watching. And Nick Chubb's a good player.
Bradley Chubb.
I think what's a Bradley Chubb? Let's say Nick Chubb. Yeah, Bradley Chubb. I think Bradley Chubb's is a good player, and having him on to play run and to rush the passer, I think is a good thing. I think Philadelphia got the better player.
Right.
I think Philadelphia and Phillips now, but you don't have him long term, So
Right.
to me, Chubb would be a good trade because you'd have control. He is a pretty high ticket guy, but he's a good player. But I could see them trading for the Raiders with Wilson. I absolutely could because this will be a guy. It'll be another one of those. Okay, we gave up a 6th round, a 7th round pick, and we got a guy as a 1st round guy and a guy that we really had on our very, very high on our board. And here's the reclamation project again.
And I'll tell you, this is going to be my point that a lot of people get mad about, and that's okay. Everybody's allowed to get mad about whatever you want to get mad about.
Sure.
One of my things with this front office
Mm-hmm.
is I think, part of it is, remember 3 years ago or whatever that we really liked this guy. Now he's available.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
usually when they're available, it's because they were not what people thought they were going to be. But the Cowboys trade for him, and then they talk about how we can't sign player X because of the pie, and they love, I believe, filling up the pie
Mm-hmm.
with guys who aren't impact players because that does not require a giant signing bonus and doing funny money accounting.
Yeah.
We can just spend that amount of dollars while other teams are way more aggressive with how they manipulate that situation and willing to go sign big time players. And I think that Jerry is happy that Kenneth Murray takes $9 million of the cap because that's not me spending $30 million on Kenneth Murray this year with his signing bonus and worrying about accounting later. And we may have dead money later. Like that's the aggressive, we think we can win the Super Bowl move. Jerry just fills up his cap with short term and then tells you it's the reason he can't sign other players when he could. And that drives me bonkers. So they'll get him because he was a high 1st round pick. So
Sure.
he'll have a high salary.
Oh
for a
no, this is
contract
just
player.
this is just a prediction of mine. This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. And I
a
think it fits.
prediction.
I think it fits them very well. I think
Yeah,
that fits
yeah.
them very well. And I also think
Albert
that when
Breer
Brian Broaddus
Albert Breer
speaks, you
was
should listen.
yeah, Albert Breer had it a couple weeks ago, and I know Zach Wolchuk has been talking about it quite a bit on our show, and it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. So everything you just laid out for our audience, it makes absolute sense there. Is it a move, the needle move? No, but to them, they're buying it. It's the George Pickens thing is that's the one thing. The trade they make for George Pickens, that's one of those things that makes him now even more dug in to do these things because it's like, George Pickens, kind of a problem, not getting it done. The production should be better. And all of a sudden, then you get George Pickens and he's one of your better players. That's like, man, we could do this again and we could do it again and we could do it again, get a young player, guy under contract, that kind of thing. So,
But he was already a really good, talented player, and they'll do it with guys who had been.
Oh no, yeah,
Bust might be too harsh a word. I haven't watched Tyree yet. ACG J Dog is in the chat. Shotty made a mistake chasing points in the opening drive. Need those points late to be within one score. Kick the damn field goal. They needed to make the 68-yarder. And I have no problem with anybody who has any opinion on any fourth down play as long as it's consistent. Like, I think they should have gone for it. I think they should have gone for it both times. They didn't get it. And if you didn't get it, then people are going to kill you. And if you do get it, then you're a genius. I think attempting to get the 7 points and putting the game on your offense's shoulders, I think that's the right move for the Cowboys. In this game, it didn't work.
I agree.
It didn't work.
Yeah, you just the protection. It was with the problem with Steele, and sometimes though the play caller, you do wonder if you get down in situations you're running the ball well and you kind of go away from things. You had the negative play where you got Nolan chased you down from behind, but man, I don't know. To me, sometimes the plays just when they don't work, they don't work. But I applaud them for trying to go for it because with this defense, you can't just you kick field goals, you're going to get beat.
Troll Fired 80 said Brian GM had on list of players you would trade today. You've given a prediction now.
I really thought that they were going to trade for Bradley Chubb. I really, really, really did. I believed that yesterday afternoon, and I was at the stadium and I started talking to some folks, and that one kind of fizzled out a little bit. And I even got to the point where I was watching, like between breaks and stuff, I was watching Bradley Chubb on my film study stuff. And then I thought it was, but I guarantee, I shouldn't say guarantee because I'm not. I think that they keep an eye on Wilson from the Raiders today. That's a hunch. That's a hunch.
Ike, appreciate you in the super chat. Jersey Cowboys, salute to you guys. More entertaining than our games. Well, if the Cowboys get to playing good offense again, I will tell you, at least it's entertaining when everybody's scoring points. They just need to be scoring the points. Dro knows what's the difference between Sam Williams and Tyree Wilson. Dang, I hate it here. If we wanted to go young, why not Phillips? Well, the answer is there are teams in the NFL that have a better chance to win the Super Bowl and comport themselves in a way that they more aggressively add talent at all times to try.
Third round pick too. Yeah. You don't have a 3. You don't have a 3.
And they were willing to, and Philadelphia is willing to do that. They're super aggressive at addressing needs immediately.
Dallas also too was looking for the control. That's what they do. They don't want to, and Jeff walked you through.
That would be irresponsible. But if they really were worried about the control, they need to figure out their George Pickens stuff right now. They need to figure that out today. Because if this ends up that we get to the offseason and they don't have a plan in place for what they're going to do with Pickens,
I don't think they do.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, to me, if you let's be honest, if you don't feel like that you're going to be able to tag him or sign him, here's your shot. Here's your shot. You can,
but really they can't, Brian. They can't. You could, and I could. I think they can't because Jerry can't send up a flag with 2 months left in a season where he wants the attention and the eyeballs on that. we're not going to make it, and we're giving up a good player.
Let me tell you this.
Because we're running up the white flag. Jerry doesn't have it in him.
Yeah, and the general manager ain't going anywhere.
Right.
I'll tell you, the guy that has the worst job right now in the National Football League is that interim general manager there in Miami, because his owners told him, tear it down. Just tear it down.
Right.
Just start. And so instead of trying to help his coach, every one of his players are available. Oh, you want Waddle? Oh, sure. You want Tua? Sure. You know, that guy's in the worst possible shape because he's doing what ownership is asking him to do.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is Jerry's not going anywhere. I know that's a shock to people listening to our program, but there is a reason why now to throw the flag up. You know,
right.
Hey, you know what? You're not very good. And when your offense plays poorly, you're going to lose games because we know what this defense is.
Yeah.
We know what this defense is.
All right, Brian, I know you got a whole day ahead of you, so let's go maybe trade for another player and let's have ourselves
I would say keep an eye on an edge. And like I said, I thought it was going to be Chubb. And maybe things will change. Maybe something will change, but I don't think so right now. But keep an eye on Wilson from the Raiders. I think that might be one that might interest them.
All right, Brian, have yourself a day. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate all of you. You guys have a wonderful day. And remember that you have follow Crown Global Media on YouTube.